The school bell shrieked, echoing through the empty hallways, a sound that signalled the end of another day. A sea of giggling teenagers flooded the corridors, their laughter and chatter creating a symphony of youthful exuberance, but not her. She walked alone, a ghost in the chaos, her presence barely noticed by the throngs of students around her. Her name was Ilara. She was different, an enigma wrapped in mystery. Ilara's emerald eyes, usually shimmering with life, held a vacant stare, as if they were windows to a soul burdened with secrets. Her pale skin and delicate frame hid a chilling truth, a truth that set her apart from everyone else. She wasn't like the others. She was bound to a dreadful fate, a fate that cast a long shadow over her young life, a secret that gnawed at her soul. Ilara clutched her books tighter, her heart pounding against her ribs, a constant reminder of the burden she carried. Every day was a gamble, a desperate dance on the edge of a razor blade, where one misstep could unravel everything. She craved normalcy, yearned for a life free from the shadows that clung to her, a life where she could laugh and dream like the others. School, a place of learning, friendship, and for Ilara, a hunting ground. The air crackled with unspoken fear. Whispers followed her like shadows. "Did you hear about Mr. Henderson?" Mr. Henderson, the history teacher, had vanished. The police suspected foul play. Ilara knew better. She knew the real reason behind his disappearance. She knew the price of survival. The weight of her secret pressed down on her. She saw suspicion in the eyes of her classmates, heard it in their hushed tones, but she couldn't let them know. To reveal herself was to invite destruction. Nightfall brought no solace, only the chilling realization of her reality. Ilara wasn't born evil. She was made that way. A curse, they called it. A parasitic entity that needed a host to survive. And it had chosen her. The entity craved energy, life force. It whispered to her, its voice a guttural rasp in her mind. It demanded to be fed. And the price, always the price, was another life. She hated what she had become, a puppet dancing to the tune of a malevolent force. The guilt gnawed at her, a constant reminder of her gruesome duty. But she had no choice. To resist was to die. Section 4. The Night of the Crimson Moon. The air hung thick with dread. The crimson moon, a malevolent eye in the sky, cast long, eerie shadows. Tonight was different. The entity was restless, its hunger insatiable. It demanded a sacrifice. Panic clawed at Ilara's throat. She couldn't do it, not again, but the entity's grip tightened, its power coiling around her like a serpent. Her vision blurred, the world around her dissolving into a crimson haze. Her feet moved without conscious thought, leading her to the school. The building loomed before her, a dark silhouette against the blood-red moon. It was empty, silent, waiting for the inevitable. Section 5. A soul tainted crimson. She found him in the library, huddled in a corner, his face illuminated by the weak beam of his flashlight. The library was eerily silent, the only sound being the faint rustle of pages turning somewhere in the distance. Shadows danced on the walls, creating an atmosphere thick with tension and mystery. He was a senior, kind eyes behind his glasses. His face, usually calm and composed, now showed signs of distress. The glasses perched on his nose reflected the dim light, giving his eyes an almost ethereal glow. He had always treated her with respect, even when others hadn't. Their interactions had always been marked by a mutual understanding, a silent bond that spoke volumes without the need for words. Terror filled his eyes as he saw her, his voice a choked whisper. The fear was palpable, a tangible force that seemed to grip the very air around them. His hands trembled and he took a hesitant step back. "Ilara, what are you doing here?" But she couldn't answer. Her mind was a whirlwind of confusion and dread. Unable to form coherent thoughts, the words stuck in her throat, refusing to come out. The entity had taken control, its power surging through her veins like a tidal wave. She could feel its malevolent presence, a dark force that overshadowed her very essence. Her eyes glowed with an unnatural light, and her movements were no longer her own. The next few moments were a blur of violence and screams. The room erupted into chaos, books and furniture flying in all directions. Her screams mingled with his, creating a cacophony of terror that echoed through the library. When it was over, she stood there, covered in his blood, the entity's laughter echoing in her mind. The silence that followed was deafening, a stark contrast to the violence that had just unfolded. Her hands shook, and she could still feel the entity's presence mocking her. Her soul, once a flicker of light, was now tainted crimson, forever scarred. The weight of her actions bore down on her, a heavy burden she would carry for the rest of her life. The crimson stain was not just on her hands, but on her very soul, a permanent mark of the darkness that had consumed her. Section 6. The Unveiling. The next morning, the town was in an uproar. Another victim, another life sacrificed to the entity's insatiable hunger. But this time, something was different. This time, they had a witness. A girl, her eyes wide with terror, pointed a trembling finger at Ilara. "It was her. I saw her. She's the one who did it." The whispers turned to shouts, accusations hurled like stones. They finally saw her for what she truly was, a monster hiding in plain sight. The truth, buried for so long, was finally unveiled. Section 7. Echoes in the Silence. In the heart of the night, the silence was deafening, broken only by the distant echoes of a past long forgotten. They took her away, her emerald eyes reflecting the flashing lights of the police cars. The fear in her eyes was palpable, a silent plea for help that went unanswered. There would be no trial, no jury. The decision had already been made, a verdict passed in the shadows. Justice, it seemed, had no place here. She would be locked away, forgotten by the world, a monster forever caged. The cold, unfeeling bars of her cell were a constant reminder of her new reality. But even in the silence of her confinement, the entity's laughter echoed in her mind, a chilling reminder of her fate. The walls of her cell seemed to close in, amplifying the sinister whispers that haunted her every waking moment. The schoolgirl with emerald eyes was gone, replaced by a creature of darkness, her soul forever bound to the entity. The transformation was complete, and the innocence that once defined her was now a distant memory. The school stood silent, a grim monument to the horrors that had transpired within its walls. Its once vibrant halls now lay in ruin, a testament to the darkness that had consumed it. The echoes of screams and laughter lingered in the air, a haunting reminder of the schoolgirl with a deadly secret. The walls seemed to whisper her name, a ghostly chorus that refused to be silenced, a secret that would forever haunt the town. The fog that rolled through the streets carried with it the weight of the past, a chilling reminder that some secrets are never truly buried.